Bosk, A Man, Cabal, Law and Order, Nail. Wait, was that a Dragon Ball Z reference?
Yup!
Background characters, or D-lists, or C-listers, however you would like to define them, are the unsung heroes of playtime. Separating characters from their arcs and personalities was kind of difficult in playtime. Like Duke, he couldn't fly without a jetpack. Darth Vader was always a bad guy. There were trajectories, there were beats that these characters, the main characters, had to hit. For me as a kid, it was hard to separate them from what I knew. If I saw the movie, that's what they had to do. But with those beautifully ambiguous background characters, the world is your oyster. The only limit is your own imagination and your ability to suspend your disbelief. There was always a comic, or a book, or an episode of some show that gives some sort of backstory, because everything needs to be fully explained nowadays. And don't get me wrong, some things you have to explain.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But when it comes to a background character who maybe has no dialogue and a name only revealed through a card back or the end of the credits, there's no explanation needed, and sometimes, well, most of the time, your story is better than any official story that may get released. It's through these characters, at least in my eyes, that the story lives on endlessly. Long after the credits roll or that book closes, they're the legs that keep the horse going. After the 100th time that you've played out, Empire Strikes Back with your toys, or you've played out The Mass Device, or whatever, these background characters allow you to create your own new stories. They allow you to kind of exist in that world, but in an unexplored portion of it. This character that may have appeared on screen with no dialogue, but you know the name of, is your avatar. You can make them whatever you want, and the story continues. And one of the things I like about meeting new people in our community is hearing about their favorite background characters. I find it infinitely more interesting when I ask, who's your favorite? And they reply with Forlom instead of saying Han Solo, or they say, my favorite is Road Pig instead of Snake Eyes, because it's the road less traveled and the less obvious answer. Characters like Snake Eyes, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Superman, they're made for you to like them. You're supposed to like them. And, I like the main characters. Lord knows, I'd be hard pressed to name an IP where I don't like the main characters, but they're not my favorite characters. My favorite characters are always the background characters, the ones who never get a chance to shine. They're the ones that could have been, the ones who just needed a chance, and they weren't given it. And yes, all these characters now have their own comics, and they have this and they have that. But I'm talking about when you're 10 years old and you don't have access to that. We didn't have the internet growing up, at least most of us. So if you didn't have a comic store with a steady stream of comics, or a library who routinely got new books in or anything like that, you were on your own. You were left to your own devices. I realize this video has been kind of short. I understand that. But I wanted to hear your favorite characters. Instead of me prattling off, Baraka and Cabal and Cable and Bosk and Updraft or any of these other characters that I really like, I could make a whole list of them, probably 50 characters that people either have never heard of or no one really cares about that are my favorites. But I wanted to hear yours. So please, let me know down below who your favorite characters are and what it is you like about them. How did you play with them? How did you react when you learned their, quote, real story? How did it compare? How did the story you made for this person compare to the story that was their real story according to, whatever comic book came out in 1996 or something? It's always interesting to me, because a lot of the times the story you come up with is a lot better than the one that's official. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then all that asks is you click like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to help me out, and I very much appreciate it when you do. And I thank you all for stopping by and spending some time with me today. So until next time, thanks for stopping by. I'm Sal, signing off.